Hello, Chex. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good too. I'm excited for this run.
Good, good. So this is a Link to the Past randomizer, but it's also vanilla. What do I mean by that?
Well, you need two things, I think, sort of. It's vanilla in that all the items are where they are in the regular game, right?
That's right.
But it's not vanilla in one and very important way, which is that you start in the Dark World.
Exactly. So it's the same rules as all dungeons, restricted major glitches for the vanilla speedrun, but we're using the randomizer ROM, and we're starting in the Dark World, and we'll need Moon Pearl to get to the Light World. And yeah, that's the essential difference. So I'm ready to get started. So, ready for the countdown?
I'm ready. I don't know if you're asking me.
Yes, I'm asking you, Fox.
I'm ready.
All right, great. All right, let's go. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Thanks for the good luck. We're gonna start just by getting the lamp, and we'll leave Link's house.
Right. And so this run jumps into clipping almost instantaneously. So this category is restricted major glitches, which means that some of the major glitches are allowed, but not like the most major ones. I sometimes refer to it as medium glitches. The main things that we're allowed to do are a lot of overworld flips, which we're going to do right here. So normally you're supposed to have a glove to pick up a big rock to get into a cave to climb up to the mountain, and we're just not going to do that stuff. So by carefully interacting with collision in some mostly pixel perfect ways, we can get deep enough into a diagonal slope that the collision can't figure out where to put us when it kicks us out, and it sends us very, very far. And we can use that to jump up to the top of the screen. Yeah. So we teleported up above the top of the screen there and wrapped around to the bottom, which puts us in this. Well, I probably couldn't get all the details right even if I tried, but the end result is that we climb to the top of the mountain without having to pick up that rock, and we can go rescue the old man. And so this will get us our mirror.
Yeah, we want the mirror early, and we can use the mirror to perform glitches as a bunny. We can use Super Bunny to do a couple of different things. We'll see later. We can also use it to, mirror from the light world to the dark world, which is the inverse of how it works in the vanilla game. And we'll combine Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness that way.
Right, but first we have to take the old man on this incredibly long walk.
It's incredibly long by design, for whatever reason, and we'll also be continuing an extra long walk in this segment and the next one.
It's true, because we are now in the light world as a bunny, and we're just going to stay that way for a while. We actually don't get the Moon Pearl for quite a while. So for anyone who doesn't know, the Moon Pearl is the item that allows you to be Link in the light world in this inverted mode.
Jumped the gun.
Yeah, you gotta turn him in. So we are going to put that off for a while, because it turns out that the fastest route we have right now collects the Moon Pearl from inside Misery Meyer a bit later. This is another clip. This clip is actually very similar to the one we saw before, but instead of teleporting at the end, we just hop down. And now we're going to walk over to Eastern. If you're familiar with Link to the Past, the Pegasus boots are where they're supposed to be. So they're at the green pendant turn-in. And the Pegasus boots allow us to go fast. And in glitch categories, they don't necessarily allow you to do more glitches so much as they make a lot of glitches 1,000 times easier and faster. And they also just make everything faster. So obviously we want those as early as possible.
We have the opportunity to get a couple of items very early, including the tempered sword, but we're gonna wait for 2 dungeons to get that in this route.
And that's just because we're optimizing overworld movement, right?
Yeah. But there's still more to be tested. We could, continue testing. It's a fun run, so optimizing is not over yet. It could still be improved.
Yeah, this run has actually been seeing a bunch of play in the last, I don't know, 2 weeks or so. Chex and another runner, Tam216, have been playing it a lot, pushing the time down really rapidly. A couple of route changes as well.
Right, and thanks to Tam for the route where we collect Moon Pearl from Meyer. And that was quite unexpected for me because we need so much to get into Misery Mire. We need a sword and we need the book to get the medallion, the ether medallion to open Mire, and both of those 2 items are in the light world. So it appears that we don't need Moon Pearl for those 2 items, and still let the run be fast.
Which is pretty crazy. So we're farming up rupees in here because we need to open Palace of Darkness after this, which costs 110 rupees.
Yeah, convenient there are 2 5 rupee pots next to the only 100 rupee chest in the game.
Yeah, that is convenient. Although there are other places to get rupees here if we didn't have that.
Exactly.
I think you're trying to farm some rupees.
I am. Here, actually. Yeah, we'll need a little bit more. We'll need a little bit more for the bottle vendor. Not for the bottle, but to talk to the bottle vendor, basically, and lift an item.
Right. When Link is a bunny and lifts an item up, that gives you Super Bunny, right? Not Link State on its own.
Right.
So Super Bunny is a state where you're a bunny still, but you can do a couple of Link things, and one of the things you can do is actually become Link by pulling on stuff. So getting Super Bunny is a useful way to get things done without the Moon Pearl. It's worth 100 rupees, apparently.
Yeah, there are other options we could consider, including getting a bottle and buying a blue potion, using a fake flute to become Super Bunny. These are ideas I've considered, but the bottle vendor seems to be the best so far. At 1 heart, we could die to 1 hit from an Igor, but we'll try not to do that.
Right. We are in Oko for a lot of this because you don't have a sword at this point, so you have to walk into a couple extra things. Or maybe just the 1 popo, but...
And another thing we're doing different from the original game is using quick swap. So I have no pause buffers unless I volunteer to spend time. 1 moment.
Ooh.
Having trouble. Okay.
Now we have 1,000,000 hearts.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow. I only need to farm 1 rupee or 1 arrow pot. That's nice.
Nice. So we've been Link while we're inside this dungeon because when you die inside a dungeon, the game puts you back at the beginning of the dungeon as Link. Whether or not you have the Moon Pearl just doesn't check. But now we're leaving the dungeon again, so we're going to be out in the cold as a bunny.
So cold.
But bunnies are allowed to talk to Sahasrara. Actually, I assume you have to Super Bunny for that. Is that true?
We just need to be a bunny. And there's...
Oh,
and
right.
typically...
That's what we were just talking about,
yeah, we can talk to NPCs as a bunny. There's one NPC in particular that will not talk to Bunny Link, and that is Kiki the monkey.
Right. So you don't... Well, let's not speculate.
The time now is
Right,
go to
so-
pod.
Yeah.
We are in the Dark World as Link, of course, as defined by the inverted mode. You know, the mode itself. So we can just talk to Kiki
Right.
and pay up.
And then pod is pretty much like a normal NMG pod, except that you don't do hammer jump, right?
We do hammer jump in reverse, inverted. From
Oh,
top
really?
instead of from the bottom.
We do top jump.
Top
Let's
jump.
go.
I think it's the fastest way. What I'm trying to do is to get rupees. I don't know why I dashed that way. But the idea here is it is a place where we can farm rupees. Because we want flippers pretty soon. Potentially we can get rupees also from Hype Cave. And that doesn't take very long either. That's a pretty good way.
Right. But that's not how we're doing it here, right?
Right, and
Doing
mainly
Sea
because
House
we're
instead?
in... I'm sorry?
We're doing Sea House instead, right?
We are, yeah.
No sword pod. You know, you don't actually use your sword all that much in pod, it turns out.
Not too much. We do have to juke an enemy.
Right.
One beetle.
And sometimes you would beam a berry that gets in your way, but just get lucky instead.
Yeah.
So we're going down to the rupee basement of pod, which I was about to say is rarely seen in speedrunning, but really it's had a resurgence lately with the advent of basement clip.
Yeah. It is in the vanilla all dungeons run. The original game. Alright, if I dashed through there correctly, I can avoid that anti-fairy. Oops. I was not timing this correctly. Wow. I couldn't figure out when to start my dash there.
That's okay, we got out.
Yeah.
And now we're doing top jump. When hammer jump was first found, top jump was... Wow, nice jump.
Thanks.
Top jump was considered by some people to be easier or safer or something, or maybe they were just used to the old route and so they started it that way. But it's very rarely seen these days.
Right. Okay, we'll get an extra pot here. Slippery statue, but we pushed it.
Looks fine.
10 arrows, I'll take those. Usually I farm both of those pots for safety, but I think we're good.
Alright, so when is the randomizer going to add fast walls?
I don't know. Okay, did that strat wrong because I was trying to be safe, but it's tough with quick swap.
Quick swap is fun, but it is a lot more difficult in some places than menuing would be.
Okay,
Or
there's a
menuing
red
fast is
rupee.
probably my phone.
What did you say?
Nothing, doesn't matter.
Okay, I collected a red rupee in that room. Turtle Party is a good room to collect rupees in, and I want 310 rupees. We're short 8, but that's okay. We'll pull a trade instead.
And we need those monies for Tempered Sword is 10, Bottle Vendor is 100, and then the rest for flippers.
Yeah.
So this fight is pretty scary with just a hammer, so Chex will be utilizing the bow in phase 2. Ooh, boy. Okay, we're fine, right?
Right. We're fine.
Okay, we're fine. Inverted means that you start out in the dark world and you need the moon pearl to get into the dark world, or into the light world, and the mirror takes you from light world to dark world, and so on and so forth. RMG is restricted major glitches, which is basically, we've seen some of it already, some clipping and teleports and so on. A bunch of glitches are allowed that aren't allowed in NMG, but a bunch of glitches are also banned. It's kind of a midway category.
Yeah, medium major glitches.
Yeah.
All right, it's time for another long walk. And that's because we want to go to the library and study. And we'll learn how to collect the ether medallion to get into Misery Meyer.
That's an important thing to learn.
And before we do that, we'll go to Thieves Town. So this is our Thieves Town segment. It just has a lot of overworld. We're passing by Link's old house, which is in this mode is the bomb shop. And there's a rupee cave in the dark world we could mirror to, but it is time consuming to mirror. So we won't be doing that. And that's why we got the pod basement rupees.
Mm-hmm. You can see there one of the terrain differences in Inverted. It's Cave 45, that's south of Grove Cave. It's just like
open.
Open, yeah.
It's kind of flattened. All right, here's a Super Bunny technique. We can mirror on the same frame we enter, and
very nice.
We'll have the ability to use boots for one bonk. And there we go, we got the book.
It's actually funny because you then pick up the book and immediately get the ability to use the boots again for one more dash.
Right, exactly.
Bonking is one of the many things that ends Super Bunny state. So when we are a Super Bunny, we can't bonk or take damage, or we lose the state.
And another important NPC that we can talk to as a bunny is the Smith, which we can mirror to in this mode. We don't need to pick up a rock. And then we can get Tempered Sword. And dash out.
Super Bunny, let's go.
But now we're a bunny again.
Right. Yeah, so every time you enter the overworld by leaving a cave or dungeon or houses or caves, by the way, in case that was unclear, houses or caves, the game checks your Moon Pearl status again, so you can't get Super Bunny in the underworld and keep it into the overworld. Zero dash C house, huh?
Yeah, I'm taking it easy.
That's correct, Nico. The to answer chat, the worlds are inverted, but all the items have been placed in their vanilla locations. Right. The randomizer allows a way to customize item placements.
Okay. All right, we can pull the tree. We can touch the tree to get Link state. And we're pulling the tree to get 10 more rupees.
Very nice. Now we're doing the Lumberjack DMA. Mm-hmm. DMA stands for Death Mountain Ascent. Just climbing up the mountain by using glitches instead of, normal intended ways. I didn't actually know about this clip. That's very nice.
Mm-hmm. And earlier we didn't talk about the palette, but when we descended from Death Mountain, we had a very brown overworld. Kind of the palette of Death Mountain, because that's where we started. Here we have a green Death Mountain. And both the overworld and Death Mountain have been inverted in this run. Just by accident.
And so Ether turns out to be just like the closest we ever get to Zora's domain, right? And so that's why we run over here and do this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we needed to get all those rupees earlier.
That is unless you consider the desert area close to Zora's domain, which is separated by a map wrap.
I do consider that close to Zora's domain. But I must imagine that there's a reason that we've opted for this routing instead of doing it from there. Presumably because we would like to run over to Swamp and Ice after Desert.
Yeah, that's right. We can chain those dungeons together. All right, we just saved and quit, I believe, for the second time in this run after getting the lamp for the first one.
Right, yeah.
We just pretty much circumnavigated the light world as in bunny state, or at least a Pearl state.
Right, and so now we're going to Thieves Town, which is inside the Lost Woods. Wait, I'm sorry, I got something wrong here.
Aha. Well, there's an item here.
That's true. Yeah, we want the fire rod early. We're going to come into Skullwoods from the left side later. So we're doing the right side of Skullwoods now and the left side later.
Yeah.
I don't really know, but I harbor private suspicions that this part of the route is ripe for changing.
Yeah, I can see that. A pretty normal bomb jump to get the big chest. And I'm out of here. We can quickly go to Thieves Town.
And you mirror to preserve one heart.
Yeah, right.
Which matters a lot more when you're at 3 than
yes,
at 8 in the vanilla speedrun, the NMG speedrun.
We're at Tuco instead of Oko.
Right. Yeah. Most things in this part of the game do 2 damage to you. Like those red and blue enemies on the ground called Zazaks do 2 hearts of damage. Crickets in the attic do 2 hearts of damage. So being at an odd number of hearts is very valuable.
And Thieves Town will be fairly normal.
Yeah, and we have Tempered Sword, which means that everything just disappears if we breathe on it.
Yeah, it's a little easier. If Gibo gets in our way, we can simply dash through it, potentially. If its orb is in front of us, or what do you call its core? Its core, really.
Core is a good name for it, yeah. I've never really thought about it. The Gibos are the enemies that are popularly known as Patrick Stars.
Yeah. And going into the attic, it's a little dangerous with quick swap only, but I'm using a safe strat. I slashed up, and I happened to get the RNG where it hits the grasshopper. The buzz.
Is that what the grasshoppers are called? Buzzes?
I believe so, yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah, that's a good strat for the attic just in general.
And generally speaking, I don't know where the names of the enemies are from. I don't know who transliterated them or whatever.
Prima Player's Guide.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to see the kill room done as with kills instead of with lifting the pot, which happens in almost every glitch category. The way that the items work in this game, there are some items that if you play the randomizer, you're probably expecting them to behave in a progressive manner. The gloves are one of them.
Okay, almost
You
back.
tried so hard to wait that guy out. So there are 2 gloves in this game. There's the gloves in the mitts, we call them, the first and the second lift upgrade. But if you get the second upgrade, you just get the second upgrade. You don't have they're not actually progressive in the original game, and that behavior is restored here. So basically every glitch category of this game skips the gloves because they're kind of out of the way. The only thing, they're in desert, and the only thing in desert is the gloves, and you don't need them for anything, so we just get the mitts instead. We fight blind, which is, in case you haven't heard, a scripted fight.
It is a scripted fight. Hopefully I remember what it is. How it goes. Ow. Didn't read the last part of the script.
That's okay. We got through.
And I do want to give a special thanks to the devs of the randomizer who just made inverted a with vanilla items a mode upon request. This happened about 4 years ago, and Espeon, I believe, came up with the idea. And it came about when people were thinking of funny Link to the Past ideas for a marathon called Objectively Better Categories Marathon. But the idea of inverted all dungeons didn't make it in.
So you've been waiting 4 years for this day, is that what you're saying?
Yes, that is exactly right. Glan and Espeon hashed out a lot of the ideas, and no one ran it until I started running it.
That's funny. So, Meyer 2 is a big dungeon. It contains...
Meyer 2 is a big room.
It is. Misery Meyer is very large. It contains not only all of the rooms of Misery Meyer, but also most of the rooms of Hera and Swamp, which means that we can obtain the Moon Pearl and also the Hookshot while we're here.
That's right. It's Meyer Hera Swamp dungeon, basically. And in this game and in this rule set, we can clip from one dungeon to another. All of the dungeons are connected in one big underworld map, but this dungeon in particular has convenient diagonal walls. I almost died. And
oh my gosh, you did almost die. Those slugs do 4 damage.
Yeah. So these 3 dungeons that we're talking about are pretty conveniently connected.
Right. So, are we going to see a Meyer bomb jump?
I wish I had practiced that, but we're not going to see that.
All right.
I skipped a Bari key as well, which we... I'm trying to remember if we did do the bomb jump. I'm not sure if we skipped that key.
If you do the bomb jump, you get it on the second loop because you're walking instead of dashing anyway. Anyway, yeah. So as Chex mentioned, the dungeons are all laid out on one big map, and if you can make your way through a transition that doesn't have a door through it, you end up in a room that might belong to another dungeon. Our options are pretty limited on this rule set. There's only a few paths between dungeons that are legal. In more glitched rule sets, you can go pretty wild, though.
Right. Alright, so we're safe. Next room is a fairy room. And this bomb clip is one of the easiest to set up in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And the fairy room is in Hera. I almost fell because I did the wrong route for a second. We still have the big key of Meyer, so we can open this big chest and collect Moon Pearl.
Right, because we're still inside Meyer. Most things, well, I don't know, I don't want to get into all the details, but the way that the game determines if you have stuff or not is based on a combination of the room you're in and the dungeon you're in. And since we have the big key in this dungeon, we can open the items in these rooms.
I had no idea what happened there for a second. But take 2. We are pulling the water. We have flippers and can cross this path.
Real clippers, yeah.
Yeah, the all dungeon speedrun. And even in any percent, we can get to hookshot without the flippers, and it requires a glitch we call fake clippers. And it's easy for me to forget that we have flippers and don't need to do the glitch to get across the water.
So Chad asks if it's just the items or vanilla or everything else is. Everything in the whole game is vanilla with the exception of a couple things that vanilla is weird about that the customizer cannot currently handle, such as the red boomerang / 300 rupee chest in Village of Outcasts. It does not switch contents correctly.
Yeah, and fun fact, in vanilla, like vanilla standard mode, it's a 300 rupee chest, but in inverted vanilla, it's a red boomerang. For whatever reason.
That's funny. Why? Okay, that's fine. Moving on. So Chex is going to throw a block in a pit, and that is very fun, but he's not doing it just because it's fun. If you are familiar with the vanilla speedrun at all, you are probably have seen the spooky action at a distance glitch, which allows you to shoot an anti-fairy and have with the fire rod and have the delayed action effect of the fire rod hit an off-screen switch. We don't have the flute in this mode, which is what's usually used to set up that trick. So we throw a block in a pit to set it up instead, and that allows us to do that.
We got it.
And now we just have to do Vitreous with 5 hearts, which has never gone wrong for anyone.
Yeah, this is the scariest part of the run for me. But let's see how it goes.
Taking 5 hearts of damage on Vitreous is not very difficult once you learn it. Taking only 4 hearts is significantly more risky. Okay, alright.
Uh-oh. We screwed up a little bit.
Okay, we got it. So I don't know if this is what just happened to you, but... Oh, you didn't have 8 arrows, that's funny. When I try to do this, what tends to happen to me is I'm really worried about it, and I rush everything, and then blow it.
That's what I've been
doing.
doing.
Got through it without dying, which means everything's fine. Now we're going to desert, but we can't just mirror to desert. So we have to do some nonsense to get into a Dark World portal.
Right.
A Light World portal, sorry.
Right, the Dark World portals are in this mode Light World portals, and a lot of them are in the same place. Except inverted. Right, arrows are not a huge deal. We'll find more as we go through desert and swamp. Oops. If I can get into desert. We can kind of relax a little bit. We just need to be able to get into the dungeon.
So in Misery Buyer, we were significantly maybe underpowered for how the game sort of wants you to be. You're supposed to have more hearts and more armor and the same sword. In Desert, we are hilariously overpowered compared to this dungeon. That's pretty nice change of pace.
Right.
Yes, Tam is unironically telling the truth and not being sarcastic at all, saying that nothing bad can happen after Vitreous is dead.
Not in A Link to the Past.
Oh.
Where you're always sure of PB pace.
Always. So in the NMG speedrun, which is the most popular speedrun for this game by a lot. The boss of this dungeon, the Molus, is the most. People argue over whether it's literally the hardest thing in the game or only the second hardest thing to do fast in the game. And in this mode, you get to have substantially better loadout when you go into Land Molus, and it's very nice. Very nice to get to fight it with Tempered Sword and Fire Rod instead of just the bow. Very nice. Do we have locked RNG, or did you re-roll for this run today, Chex?
It's a fresh seed. I rolled these earlier this week. Thanks for the Max Jam.
So all bosses have locked patterns in a rando seed. So if you play the same rando seed over and over again, you'll get the same movement out of the bosses that you fight. And so some people, when they're doing vanilla rando speedruns, like to do that to find a seed that has very friendly boss patterns or whatever. Chex likes the challenge of reacting to the RNG each time, and so he's rolling a new seed for each run. Also, love that huge super speed room. The stairs are great.
Yeah. Stairs added to the inverted mode.
Right. Yeah, those aren't there in vanilla. And now we're doing Swamp, but we already have the hookshot. So Swamp is very small, very short, very fast.
Right, there's a lot in common with all dungeons for RMG for these next two dungeons. Main difference being the overworld.
I actually don't think I know how we get into ice. But I guess we'll find out together.
Yeah. It's simple because ice is simply open in inverted mode.
Oh, that's funny. So you don't have to tam swam it.
Right.
Diver Down and Icebreaker are both allowed in RMG, so use those to save a little bit of time. Wow, how did that water ball hit you?
I don't know. Video game.
Rude. I think you should tam swam to ice for the fans anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so on Argus, if you do an item dash, which is pressing Y and A on the same frame with the hook shot, Link will get in this state where his sword is doing full slash damage. It's actually dash damage, which is the same as slash damage to the puffs, and so you can one-shot the puffs. And then if you keep the rhythm, you can one-shot all the puffs before your sword drops, and you lose the dash poke state. It's very difficult, though. So we didn't quite get the zero cycle there, but still a good fight.
I always get hit by a Moblin Spear coming out of this dungeon because I haven't really figured out how to deal with it.
Wow, swimming around bars. This looks like really fun. Normally that area is blocked off. That wall around the Ice Palace is actually closed. You have to use a portal to get into this area, but it's just open and inverted. It's inverted's weird.
Yeah. The option, I think, in developing inverted would be either have it open like it is, or make it mirror blocked, perhaps. For example, you could go to the light world and go to the Pond of Happiness and then mirror to that area.
The Pond of Happiness. I think that in the vanilla game it requires Mitts and Moon Pearl. So it shouldn't require Moon Pearl because that's the whole point of inverted. But you could just put a Mitts block, a rock or whatever there also. To keep the original item requirement.
Yeah.
Now we're coming up on Cold Stare. As we said, nothing bad can happen after Vitreous, so we're not worried about this fight. See? Nice fight.
I used the single poke strat, which is very consistent for me.
It's a good strat. There's 3 main ways you can fight Cold Stare. And I think that the single poke has the best combination of consistency and like difficulty.
Yeah.
So now we're going to show off, I think this is the newest glitch in the video game, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Thanks to Brahmin Meat, who discovered how to swim, we can use a glitch that we're calling Swimmy G.
Right, it's named after the legendary saxophone player.
Yes. And it's simply technically a slope swim clip. And I don't know why it works, but that is what it is.
I think the very rough outline of why it works is that slopes are weird, and you get in weird slope state, and then you get to stay in it. Somewhat analogous to overworld conveyor, which is another way to move through collision, but that one's banned in this category. Huge sword climbs. Let's go.
Not very good, but thank you.
Remember to clip. Okay. So now we're going to Turtle Rock. This is a nice fast way into the back of Turtle Rock. If you're familiar with the All Dungeons non-inverted speedrun, you might have seen the mirror wrap there, but that doesn't work the same because the worlds are backwards, so the mirror does different stuff. Luckily, there's a different just overworld clip into the same place.
Coincidentally, that overworld glitch was developed by Brahmin Meat. So that's 2 Brahmin Meat glitches in a row. Not sure how many in sequence there are in this run, but there's 2 of them.
Brahmin Meat has discovered a lot of stuff. So doing Turtle Rock from the back is pretty cool. You get to ignore a lot of stuff that's supposed to be difficult, like these pokies.
Just hold up.
Mirror back to the end after you get the big key.
Yes.
That's an interesting way of doing that, right?
I kind of forgot how to do it.
Well, it worked out pretty well. And now we just run to triumphs.
Yes.
So we're in, well, we've actually been in for a while. Pretty much just cleanup mode. Oh, a little bit too high there. We're just rushing through dungeons at this point. We pretty much, I think we have everything we need as of the ice rod, right?
Yeah. So we have to fight Trinex, and there are still a couple more crystals to collect.
Only one more, I think.
I messed up.
A little too early there. Good catch though. Remembering to quick swap after getting off is impossible.
So let's beat this boss. We also have Skullwoods and Hera left.
Right.
And we are very close to Skullwoods right now, so that'll be the next one.
Right. We get to do the infamous Scudge Woods. Shoutouts to Super Scudge.
Right, Scudge Woods.
Scudge Woods is a glitch. It's a map wrap from Turtle Rock to Skullwoods, and it appears in every RMG route and then gets routed out later.
Right.
But we haven't routed it out yet.
Just to be sure, let's inch along here. In a map wrap state, in this particular map wrap state, we cannot be pushed to the right at all or push Link to the right ourselves. It would cause an infinite scroll.
Which is bad.
Right.
Nice hook through the spike, by the way. ROM hack strats.
Right. Except I still have to avoid it on the way back.
Well, right. So Skullwoods is pretty normal. I mean, obviously the way we get here is pretty abnormal, but back of Skullwoods is done normally.
Wow.
Well, except we have beams. That's kind of annoying, actually.
It's a drag. I don't know how to deal with it especially well.
Just walk into something, I guess. I don't know. There we go.
I got a kind moth, which is nice after missing the double poke at the beginning.
Yeah. The fight can get out of hand if you don't kill it really fast, but that went pretty well. And now we are cleaning up just the last 3 towers.
Yeah, all towers. Oops, all towers.
All towers RMG. That would be a funny meme category where you have to do all dungeons, but like towers don't count because they're not dungeons, they're towers. You just have to do all the ones that have an underground component.
Yeah.
So here we're jumping past the bottom of the screen to get to the top of the screen fast, which allows us to enter the portal at the top of the screen, and then we're in the light world, so we can run back down and briefly be at the bottom of the screen where we're supposed to be to clip into Hera.
Okay.
And we... What a jerk! Holy crap!
I could have just left it there, I suppose.
Nice Herapod, though. So we get to skip pretty much all of Hera because Herapod is very broken.
Yeah, it's all thanks to Meyer. Oops. And getting hookshot.
And Moon Pearl, yeah. We don't need the big key
Mm-hmm.
to get the Moon Pearl, and we don't need the big key to open the door because we can just skip it with Herapod.
Yeah.
And so that's all of our jewelry.
Yeah, right. All of our crystals and pendants.
Now we just have to kill some wizards.
Right.
We're doing this in the inverted direction. Normally you do Ganon's Tower and then Aga Tower. But in this mode, you do Aga Tower and then Ganon's Tower. It looks like we're going into Ganon's Tower, but actually we're going to Aga Tower. Because inverted is weird.
Yeah. and I think there is potential in doing this dungeon toward the beginning or middle of the game, since it places Link in the middle of the light world, which might be good for bunny navigation and save and quit navigation, but I find it hard to time this kind of thing, so I have not routed that in, since it used to be routed in and I basically just didn't want it anymore.
Timing is a lot of work if you want to do it correctly, and if you don't want to do it correctly, there's not really any point in doing it.
Mm-hmm. Forgot to use Fire Rod. Oops. I gotta fight some guys.
Wow, you are getting outjousted. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not too much more to say about the route. We'll see that Ganon lives inside of Hyrule Castle later.
Right.
And Aghanim will place us there conveniently.
Aghanim is guaranteed to give blue balls in this, right?
Yes, that's right. That's how the rando vanilla ROMs are currently. I would be interested in a randomized version, but there's not really.
Would you want blue balls randomized as well, or just everything else, just all the other bosses?
Yeah, I'd like them randomized.
Interesting.
I
would too, I think, but
there's no popular demand for it.
Yeah.
Unless you and I whined a lot. I don't know how else to get that done.
I think a lot of people would want 0 blue balls, but other bosses randomized, but random blue balls is not really very popular, although I personally like it a lot.
I can't clip out. Aghanim 1 is defeated, and now we are immediately in a new cutscene to open Ganon's Tower.
Unfortunately, we have to watch this cutscene, which is very unfair.
It's unfair. There was a time where we could simply bonk into the door to open it and skip the cutscene.
Ganon's Tower is mostly, almost exactly like any other categories GT climb, with a couple exceptions. You don't have the boomerang, and you have quick swap, which means you can do a lot of things faster, but you have to do a lot of quick swapping.
Yeah. Oops.
I'd like to take this moment to thank chat for having the forbearance not to enter random numbers.
Thanks, chat. Chat knows where the big key is. Behind Water Armos.
Water Armos is banned in this category.
Okay, you're right.
You can reach this room, the Armos fight, from a cave. And if you enter it in a cave, instead of being ice, this floor will be water, which is pretty funny looking. And also the Armoses move almost like when you hit them, they don't have any knockback almost, and it's very, very weird fight.
Yeah.
But there's no way to do that in RMG. You have to upgrade your glitch levels to get access to that kind of thing.
I think I copied your strat to beat water armors quickly in a previous rando spoiler.
I don't remember my strat, but I'm glad it helped.
Two arrows left. This is okay.
Yeah, it should be fine. You can get the ones in G2 if you want them. The Gannis Tower climb, sort of notoriously one of the most technical and exciting parts of the run. There's a lot of rooms with a lot of RNG and a lot of difficult movement. It's a place where a lot of runners like to spend a lot of time, really show off their skills. It's a lot of fun to play, a lot of fun to watch. Fighting through 5 rooms of the Gauntlet, which are a series of 5 kill rooms. I think I've said kill rooms a few times. By that I just mean a room where the door opens after you've defeated all the enemies.
Excuse me? Just got run over.
Should have got red mail.
Yeah.
It's interesting that G5 works. Is something setting our spooky there?
Oh, I don't know. I think the cane, because it's spike skip room.
You do that in, yeah. Okay. All right, some bad RNG there on Lamo 2. Good climb though. A lot of players find these Wizrobe rooms be among the most fun in the game. They're a nice combination of, they're very satisfying, they're not that hard to do when you're first starting to learn the speedrun, and they just work really nicely. Making all the Wizrobes go pop.
Thanks to 16-bit gaming, we have stereo sound. Sounds great. Guess I didn't need that pot.
Now if you do lamp torches too, you can save a pot pickup on this room.
Lamp torches too. No, thank you.
You have quick swap. It probably would have saved, 15 frames on a overall or something.
You're right. Gotta go back to the drawing board. Time it out. I instinctively check whether I need to get into hovering position when I come into this room. But thankfully, there's none of that in this run.
Yeah, I guess there's no hovers in this run at all, huh?
You could hover the cane chest gap.
You could hover the Meyer bomb jump.
Yeah. Or Skullwood's bomb. A lot of opportunities, I guess. Okay. Not my best fight.
Hovering the pod big chest actually probably saves a lot of time.
I could see that.
But that's terrible hover.
Oops.
Alright, so we've defeated 2 Aghanims.
No.
It's just 1 Aghanim left to go. No, don't go to Ace 2? Okay, thank God.
Okay, I went a little far, yeah. Could have been a disaster.
That bat does not interact with the background in an aesthetically pleasing way.
Correct.
So the Ganon fight, for anyone who doesn't know, there's 4 phases of Ganon. First phase is already done. We're probably done with phase 2 by now. I have a slight delay in my commentary. For the 3rd phase, he warps around, except that it's actually locked at 0 warp, so he will not be warping around.
Right.
Once we've hit him 4 times here, then we have to do 12 spins to finish the video game. By lighting that left torch before the right torch goes out, we guarantee that the right torch never goes out, which allows us to get 3 spins per torchlight if all goes well. Getting consistent triples is very difficult.
Oh, right.
This is, in fact, the hardest RNG. Yep, there we go. That's why it's hard.
Okay. That was a 0 cycle.
Alright, we're back on track now. Getting blue Ganon by accident is very off-putting. GG. Nice run.
GG's.
Almost sub-hour.
Close, yeah. That's time. So that's the run.
An official SRL time of 1 hour, 12 minutes. 1 hour, 0 minutes, 12 seconds, and 31 hundredths of a second. What hilarious message did the Triforce have for you? I wasn't looking.
I missed it, but I'll see it again on the restream.
Okay.
Since we have a little bit of extra time, why don't we try to experiment just to do one glitch demonstration? And what I want to show off is how to get to Pyramid to get silver arrows.
So this is a brand new glitch. This is basically the Swimmy G that we discovered, that we talked about earlier, that's very new, but this is a new way of activating that state that is even easier, discovered by the one and only TAM216. Actually, it's not the one and only, there are 216 of them. But discovered by one of the TAMs.
I didn't know that. Yeah. So what we're going to do is swim directly to the left of of this wall, basically.
This, right?
Yeah. And over yeah. You'll see.
What? You're doing a weird setup for this.
No, I'm just talking. Because I wanted to point out that we're going directly to the left.
Do you normally swim up on the right? I just swim up on the right screen.
I don't have
where to transition.
I don't have a thing I normally do because I haven't done this in a while. I just want to show that it's possible.
Gotcha. Yep, so there we go. If you're swimming correctly, then there's just no collision.
We have an issue that we cannot open a chest while swimming, and we can't get out of swimming state there, but once we leave, we can. But we have to dash back in with a dash turn and dash. Then we are Link. And
so fun fact about this trick is
silvers.
that it requires the Moon Pearl, even in inverted.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, when you leave a cave in a swimming state, you splash out of it.
And?
Instead of whatever you do instead.
Now we splash out. And in it, there was a co-op where we wanted to check.
No, don't talk about it. No.
In an inverted randomizer, this area, but we couldn't because of that Moon Pearl situation. But thanks to Fox for trying that out and figuring out that it wouldn't work. And on that note, I want to thank you for commentating. So thank you very much. That was a lot of fun.
This was fun, yeah. Thanks for inviting me.
So, I think on that note, thank you, SpeedGaming, for hosting us. And thanks for watching Inverted All Dungeons.
Everyone have a great day.